The car door was still open when the police found it, engine running, headlights on, hazard lights flashing against the dark emptiness of Route 16. It was 3:17 a.m. The driver's phone was on the front seat, still recording. A trembling voice whispered, "Someone's following me. I can see the lights again." Then, nothing but static. A half-eaten sandwich lay on the dashboard. The driver's wallet was untouched. But the driver, 28-year-old Emily Carter, was gone. Not a single footprint, not a drop of blood, not a trace of where she went. The search lasted for weeks. Drones, dogs, state troopers, nothing. People said they saw strange lights near mile marker 227, the last known location of her car. One trucker swore he saw a shadowy figure standing in the middle of the road that same night, waving for help, but when he stopped, the road was empty. Emily wasn't the first to disappear on that stretch of highway. And she wouldn't be the last. To this day, not one of those missing people has ever been found. And it all began with a single, chilling coincidence that still haunts the state of Wyoming. What really happens on Route 16 after midnight? And why does everyone who stops near mile marker 227 never seem to come back? It started almost 6 months before Emily vanished. Back then, Route 16 was just another quiet highway cutting through endless fields and lonely gas stations. Locals called it the Devil's Stretch. Not because of crime, there was almost none, but because weird things always seemed to happen there. Engines died without reason. Radios picked up whispering voices. And sometimes, drivers would claim they saw cars following them, cars that never showed up on dashcam footage. Emily Carter was a nursing student from Boise, Idaho. Bright, funny, and the kind of person who always stopped to help a stranger on the road. She had planned a solo trip to visit her best friend in Rapid City, South Dakota, a simple 6-hour drive that should have been uneventful. She left Boise at 6 p.m. on a Friday evening. The sky was clear, the roads were empty, and her last text to her mom read, almost halfway there. "Love you." By 11:30 p.m., she'd passed through Buffalo, Wyoming. That was the last town before the long, lonely stretch of Route 16. A security camera from a gas station captured her filling up her tank, smiling at the clerk, and buying a cup of coffee. She seemed relaxed. A few minutes later, she pulled out of the lot, heading east. That was the last confirmed sighting of her alive. At 12:52 a.m., Emily's phone pinged a cell tower near mile marker 227, the same place her car would later be found. According to digital forensics, her phone began recording a voice memo just 5 minutes before the signal cut off. In the recording, you can hear her breathing heavily. Then, a trembling whisper. "There's someone behind me. They keep flashing their lights." 30 seconds later. "I pulled over. They stopped too." Then, silence. Finally, one last sound, a faint click, like a car door opening. Then static. When her car was discovered 2 days later, there were no signs of a struggle. No fingerprints besides hers. Her bag and phone were still inside. The only strange detail, her driver's seat was pushed all the way back, far enough that someone much taller than her had been sitting there. Investigators were baffled. Locals whispered. Some said it was a serial killer who used the highway as hunting ground. Others said there was something supernatural about that part of Route 16, something that didn't want to be found. Then, 3 weeks after Emily's disappearance, a rancher 15 miles east of mile marker 227 reported something odd. He found a white scarf tangled in a barbed wire fence. The same kind Emily had been wearing in her last Instagram post. The scarf was shredded, and one corner of it was stained with what appeared to be oil, thick, dark, and metallic smelling. But it wasn't motor oil. Lab tests later showed it wasn't any known industrial fluid at all. Whatever it was, it didn't belong to a car. A year later, another disappearance happened. This time, it was a father and son, Tom and Daniel Briggs, driving home from a fishing trip. They called Tom's wife at 8:14 p.m. to say they'd be home in an hour. The call dropped suddenly. When police found their truck the next morning, it was parked neatly on the side of the same road, engine still warm, doors unlocked, fishing gear still inside. No sign of Tom or Daniel. Their footprints led about 30 feet into the grass beside the highway, then just stopped. No drag marks. No animal tracks. Nothing. It was after that second disappearance that the FBI got involved. They quietly collected evidence from both cases, including the strange substance from Emily's scarf. Rumors spread that one of the agents went missing too, though that's never been confirmed. Truckers began refusing to drive Route 16 after dark. Locals told travelers to take the interstate instead. And yet, every few years, another vehicle turned up abandoned along that lonely stretch. Always near mile marker 227. Some drivers said they could feel the air change when they passed it, like the atmosphere itself got heavier. Others claimed their radios would suddenly go silent, no matter what station they were on. 2 months before Emily disappeared, another driver caught something on his dashcam at almost the exact same spot. The footage was later reviewed by police, though it was never released publicly. But according to a leaked report, it showed a dark shape standing in the middle of the highway, not quite human, not quite shadow, and as the car approached, it simply vanished. The driver, shaken, pulled over and vomited on the side of the road. He said later, "It wasn't just something I saw. It felt like something saw me." By the time Emily's case hit national news, Route 16 had earned a new nickname, the Highway of the Vanished. And while most people saw her disappearance as another tragic mystery, some investigators believed there was a connection, a hidden pattern behind every missing person. The problem was, anyone who tried to dig too deep into the Route 16 disappearances seemed to meet strange fates themselves. One private investigator from Denver claimed he found something buried near the old rest stop off mile marker 227, something that could explain everything. He left a voicemail for his wife saying he'd call her in an hour. He never did. His car was found abandoned. Engine running. Door open. Just like Emily's. No one drives that way anymore. Even the highway patrol avoids it after dark. Yet sometimes, on quiet nights, travelers passing nearby say they can still see headlights flickering in the distance, moving slowly, endlessly, as if a car is still searching for a way out. And once in a while, they swear they hear a faint voice through the static of their radios. A woman's voice, whispering, "Can you see the lights too?" It was supposed to be an ordinary road trip. But Route 16 never lets anyone go easily. Because something waits there, hidden in the dark. Something that watches. And last winter, for the first time in years, the lights returned. A car was found abandoned again, its driver missing. But this time, there was something new inside the vehicle. A single Polaroid photo. It showed all the missing people, standing together, on the side of that same highway. Smiling. The photo shouldn't have existed. Every missing person from Route 16, Emily Carter, Tom and Daniel Briggs, and 5 others who vanished over the years, were in it. All smiling, all standing shoulder to shoulder like a family portrait, the midnight highway glowing faintly behind them. But the creepiest part wasn't their faces. It was the background. Behind them, half hidden in the darkness, stood a tall figure. Its face was blurred, almost melting, like smoke caught in motion. Yet somehow, its hand rested on Emily's shoulder. The photo had no timestamp, no camera brand markings, nothing to trace. The FBI analyzed the paper and found it was made from a discontinued Polaroid film that hadn't been manufactured since 2009. And there was no camera inside the vehicle, no device that could have taken it. The car belonged to a man named Lucas Perry, a 34-year-old truck driver from Colorado. He'd last been seen at a rest stop off Interstate 90, telling another driver he was taking the back route home, through Route 16. When his body never turned up, he became the 9th person to disappear along the same stretch. Except now, he'd left something behind. The investigation exploded overnight. Reporters swarmed Buffalo, Wyoming. Locals refused to talk. Sheriff Dale Morton, who had been on the force for 32 years, told reporters, "That road doesn't take people. They just go missing." But privately, even he admitted to seeing strange things. He told one deputy he once saw headlights flicker in his rearview mirror while patrolling Route 16. The lights stayed behind him for 5 straight miles, matching his speed. Then, when he slowed to check, they vanished. No car, no sound, nothing. That deputy quit the next day. Federal agents reopened the entire Route 16 case. They combed through decades of records, focusing on the mile markers between 225 and 229, where every single disappearance had occurred. They noticed something unusual. In aerial photos from 1987, a small service road had once connected to the main highway, right near mile marker 227. It had been sealed off years ago after a rock slide. According to old county maps, it led to an abandoned rest stop called High Ridge Station. That's where they decided to start digging. The rest stop was barely more than a crumbling parking lot overrun with weeds and rusted signs. But deep behind it, the team found something strange, a concrete hatch buried under a layer of soil and moss. It was square, bolted shut, and covered with scratches that looked almost like claw marks. When they finally pried it open, a wave of cold air rushed out. Inside was a narrow stairway descending into darkness. Agent Miller, who led the operation, took the first steps down. His flashlight flickered twice, then steadied. The tunnel stretched about 40 feet underground, carved roughly into stone. On the walls, someone had drawn handprints, hundreds of them, in a dark, oily substance.